Welcome back to the channel, my friends. Today, we're diving into one of the darkest and most disturbing true crime cases in history, the Moor Murders. This is the story of Ian Brady and Myra Hindley, a seemingly ordinary couple in 1960s England who turned out to be two of the most cold-blooded child killers the world has ever known. By the end of this video, you'll know the horrifying details of their crimes, how they lured innocent victims, and the shocking ways they were finally caught. Trust me, this one will chill you to the bone. But before we get started, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and drop a comment down below with your thoughts. Would you have suspected Ian and Myra if you met them back then? I'd love to hear your opinions. Part 1. The beginning of a deadly love story. Ian Brady was born in Glasgow, Scotland in 1938. From a young age, he showed troubling signs: cruelty to animals, obsession with violent books, and a fascination with Nazi ideology. Fast forward to 1961, when he started working at a chemical distribution company in Manchester. That's where he met Myra Hindley. Myra was just 18 years old, quiet and insecure. But when she met Ian, she fell completely under his spell. Ian introduced her to his dark world of sadism, Nazi propaganda, and crime. Together, they weren't just a couple, they became a deadly partnership. Their bond wasn't built on love in the traditional sense, it was built on manipulation, power, and cruelty. Myra once wrote in her diary that she would do anything Ian asked of her, and sadly, she meant it. Part 2. The murders begin. Between 1963 and 1965, the pair kidnapped and murdered at least 5 children. Their victims were between the ages of 10 and 17. The first was Pauline Reed, a 16-year-old girl on her way to a dance in July 1963. Ian and Myra lured her by asking if she'd help search for a lost glove on Saddleworth Moor. That lost glove trick became one of their signature tactics. Tragically, Pauline never made it home. Then came John Kilbride, just 12 years old, lured with promises of a ride home and a bottle of sherry. After John, there was Keith Bennett, Leslie Ann Downey, and finally, Edward Evans. One of the most chilling parts of these murders was how methodical they were. Myra would drive the car and act friendly, while Ian played the dominant, menacing role. Together, they photographed their victims, recorded their screams, and buried their bodies on the remote, desolate Saddleworth Moor. Part 3. The tape recorder of terror. Out of all the horrifying details, one stands out: the tape recording. When police eventually uncovered the evidence, they found an audio tape of 10-year-old Leslie Ann Downey. On the tape, Myra's voice can be heard instructing Leslie while the child sobs and begs for her mother. This tape was played in court during their trial, and it was so disturbing that even the hardened officers and jurors broke down in tears. Reporters wrote that it was one of the most haunting pieces of evidence ever presented in a courtroom. Part 4. How they were caught. For years, Ian and Myra got away with murder, but in October 1965, everything changed. Their final victim, Edward Evans, was killed in Myra's own home. Her brother-in-law, David Smith, witnessed the murder and was horrified. Terrified but determined, he went straight to the police the next morning. Police raided the house and discovered shocking evidence: photographs, the tape recording, and maps pointing to Saddleworth Moor. Eventually, the graves of several victims were uncovered. The public was outraged. People who once saw Myra as just a quiet, blonde young woman now saw her as a monster. Part 5. The trial and aftermath. In 1966, the trial of Ian Brady and Myra Hindley became one of the most infamous in British history. Ian was cold and unremorseful, showing no signs of guilt. Myra, on the other hand, tried to act like she had been manipulated, claiming she was under Ian's control. But the evidence was overwhelming. Both were convicted of multiple murders. Ian was sentenced to life imprisonment, and Myra received the same. Even in prison, the two remained a point of fascination for the public. Ian Brady continued to show no remorse until his death in 2017. Myra Hindley, however, spent decades trying to convince people she had changed, even fighting for parole multiple times. But the families of the victims never forgave her. She died in prison in 2002. Part 6. Legacy of Horror. The Moor murders left scars on Britain that will never heal. The victims were young, innocent children, and their deaths represented the darkest side of human evil. Even today, Saddleworth Moor is remembered not for its beauty, but for the horrors buried beneath it. The case also sparked debates about psychology, manipulation, and how seemingly normal people could hide such monstrous behavior. Ian Brady and Myra Hindley became symbols of pure evil, a reminder that killers don't always look like monsters. Sometimes they look like your neighbors. And that, my friends, is the horrifying story of the Moor murders. Ian Brady and Myra Hindley weren't just killers, they were a nightmare come to life, and their crimes still haunt people to this day. What do you think? Was Myra truly under Ian's control, or was she just as evil as him? Let me know in the comments below. If you found this video chilling, please make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who loves true crime stories. I'm heading off now to create the next video for you guys, and trust me, the case I'm working on next will shock you even more. So stay tuned because you do not want to miss it.